Hey Clashers, sneak peek number 2 for the October update, and this means we are going to talk about the splits between the battle mode and the ranked mode in Clash of Clans. Let's kick things off with the battle mode, because this one pretty much works exactly as what we have currently in the live game. You're jumping into an attack. If you don't like the base or the loot, you're just clicking next until you find a base you like to attack, loot the base, and you're good to go. The big difference though is that there are no trophies anymore. No trophy dropping or anything. No, the matchmaking is just based on your town level, and that's pretty much it. As well, we have the new magic shield system. On top of that as well, the new revenge button. So I've explained those yesterday, so make sure that you check them out if you haven't already. But let's continue now with the second mode, which is the ranked mode, and that is the exciting one because that is something completely new like we have not seen before. Because the ranked mode is pretty much a weekly competition where you're going to be matched with other players within your league, and in the end of the day, you have to fight those battles to somehow come out on top to get promoted. If you're not performing that well, you have as well the chance of getting demoted, or if you're in the middle of the pack, you're just staying in your league. Because this is now how this entire system works. You are having leagues where you can get promoted or demoted or stay in the same tier. And all of that is done in weekly competitions, which means that you have quite some time for your attacks. The attacks as well depend on the league you are in, which means the amount of attacks. But how does the cycle of a weekly competition look like? Well, you have a sign-up phase, then as well a phase where you can set up the base, for example, for your defense, for example. Then as well, you have the battle time, which means this is the time where people are doing their attacks, and then as well a rest day on top. This is pretty much the cycle of like a weekly competition, and then at the end of that, you're either going to get promoted, demoted, or you're staying in the same league. This is where things are getting tricky because it will take now quite some time to get promoted because it takes 1 week to actually climb up a league, for example. The downside with this entire system, though, is that, yes, you can pick your base and select your clan cast, and the clan cast is always going to be there in your ranked mode, which is quite nice, right? So you don't always need to donate that. The downside, though, is that you cannot pick a base in the battle mode, which means always your home village is the one which is getting attacked, which is pretty much the end of show bases. That's right. Or maybe you can just still keep going with show bases, but this would mean that you would most likely lose more resources because Legend can get attacked now as well. They have now the farm mode as well, but on the other side, the downside is that you can get looted as well, so this is something you have to consider. So the base you have as your home village is going to be the base which is getting attacked from others when it comes down to your loot protection. So this is something which you have to consider then in the future, which is the sad the sad problem with this entire system for everyone who loved their show bases. But this is the unfortunate thing with this entire system to make sure that it works. But let's continue now with the explanation for the rank mode, because there's a lot of information to this on how this entire thing works. As I said, you have to set up your base, you have to set up your defensive clan caster to really make all of that work. But the good news as well is for everyone who is pushing with the different town levels, because we now have this tab of My Town Hall Level, which means you're going to see a ranked overview for the town level specific. If you're town of 15, for example, only town of 15s are going to be displayed here, which is pretty cool. The first and most important thing is the league. Then as well, the trophies you are in, which means like the trophies within your league, which you have claimed in the weekly tournament. I will show you in a second what and how that exactly works. And that's how the overall town hall competition, the town hall rank works, which is super cool. Now let's take a look at all of those different leagues. And I already see it in the comments, and that's always with like cosmetics, how this works. Some people love it, some people hate it. If you want to hear my opinion, I like quite a few of those new icons. The bottom ones with the skeleton and archer, not really mine, but hey, everyone has a favorite, right? For me, it's the next one with the wizard. That looks pretty cool, but I'm completely biased because I just like the wizard. But you can see as well on your screen what the league bonus and as well what the star bonus looks like. And I mean, the good news is there is quite some ores now in this entire system, and stereo ore as well, which is quite amazing. But as you're climbing higher now with the leagues, not just the resources are increasing, but as well the attacks you're getting during a tournament. As I said earlier, a tournament is like for 1 week, and you're having, for example, an Electro 33, which is the highest, like normal league, let's call it that way, is 30 attacks for the entire week. And Legend, it is still 8 attacks every single day. That's still like, Legend is pretty much not changed whatsoever. Legend mostly stays the same, but with a big difference. The highest 3 leagues have battle modifiers, and they are scaling up. The lowest one is having 7% bonus damage on the defenses. Hero are as well adjusted a little bit. Then we have the double amount for the second highest. And then for Legend, make sure that you're holding on, because that is pretty much hard mode. Well, it is exactly hard mode, but without the equipment cap. A lot of people were expecting way lower numbers, but hard mode is hard, especially with the Springtrap rework. Legend is going to be a really big challenge. I would assume roughly that the new Legend mode is somewhat close to what we have currently in hard mode. So it's a really big challenge, and even the best of the best are not having the highest hit rate. But now, this is exactly how the numbers look like. Again, just as a complete overview, we have the esports mode, which is exactly staying the same. This next lower version is Legend, then Master, and then Expert. If you're wondering, yes, you are able to select all those different modes, modifiers within your friendly challenge to make sure that you can practice, not just offense, but as well defense if you want to test your bases. So you can just tap the icon and make sure that you have the exact modifier in. Again, I have already in the earlier screen changed the names because those are not going to be in the game, like with Expert, Advanced, and the next one then. It's instead going to be Legend, Expert, and so on. So like, as I showed you just a second ago. But you can just then post your friendly challenge with whatever mode you would like and practice, as I said, your attack, your defense, for example. Make sure that you're well prepared, because this Legend season is going to be a really big treat, because defense, I mean, that's going to be challenging. But let's take a look at how many people are actually in the highest league. And this is, I think, where the problems start. It is going to be the top 100,000, of the current Legend season. I mean, the top 50 to top 1,000, I really hope they're going to stick around and not get completely demotivated. From like a 50 to maybe 70% success rate you have currently, you will go down to maybe a triple every few days. That's just how the difference is. That's just how the reality looks like. I really hope that people are going to stick around and not get demotivated too much. But I guess that had as well some reasons with like matchmaking and why we see such a high number in the highest league. But hey, the next 200,000 players, which means like top 200,000 to top 100,000 to top 300,000, sorry, is going to be then the second highest league. And then the next 300,000 players are going to be the third highest league. Next one on the list is like you see on the left side all of the different town levels, then the trophies, and as well then the league which they're going to be ranked in. But as well, there is always like a league floor for the different town levels. So if you're wondering, okay, what is exactly happening with the town of 17, which is having right now 0 trophies? Well, the lowest league you can possibly go for is displayed right here. For town of 17, this would be the league 25, for example. If you're town hall 14, the lowest league you could possibly get is League 14. Higher, the sky's the limit. You can always go higher. At some point, you're going to get always matched with higher town levels, which will be a challenge. Hey, that's why I'm keeping like some lower town level town, which means town 16, town 17, as soon as town 18 drops, right? Like, we're going to do some fun push challenges with those town levels and see how far we can make it. But it is going to be a really, really big challenge. Now, if you're wondering how many resources are you going to get in ranked attacks, we have already discussed the star bonus, the league bonus, but this is the loot you're getting with every single attack, depending on your league and depending on your town hall level. For the Legend League and Town Hall 17, that's 1.1 million for those different attacks. That's quite a bit. That's really nice and solid loot. Remember as well, you can lose loot now as well in Legend, which is why they have pushed those numbers higher. If you're wondering how many, how much Dark Elixir you can claim, this is right here on your screen as well. Again, for the different town levels and as well depending on the different leagues. This is how the loot system works then for the ranked mode. Again, in ranked attacks themselves, you don't lose any loot. That's always gained from the system. But let's continue now with an example on how a tournament week looks like. First off, and this one is an example, it's like with creators and such, like all together it's 8 players only. Normally you have way more in there, and we have only 4 attacks as well. So let's just quickly do our attacks, and then we can see how things are changing. Because something really unique about the leagues from League 33 to League number 1, you can only gain trophies, which means even if you're like defending, you're still gaining trophies. On offense, you can get up to 40 trophies, which is using the exact same system as Legend. But on defense, you can only claim trophies, which means if someone's getting a 2-star with like 28 trophies, which they will claim, then you're going to get the difference between the 28 and the possible 40 trophies, which means you're going to get a plus of 12 trophies. As well, you can check your offensive and defensive performance, not from yourself, but as well from others within your group, making sure that you are well prepared for the entire system. In Legend, as I said earlier, nothing changes beside the modifiers. Everything else pretty much stays the same. But now the question is obviously happening of like, how can you promote and demote, and how does that entire system works? Well, as I said earlier, it is this weekly cycle, which means from Legend, if you want to demote, it's only working on a Sunday, and you have to be lower than 4,900 trophies. That's how this thing works. As well, if you want to be promoted or demoted from those different leagues we're going through right now, you need to be in the higher ranks, and here it's really important that for each league, it is different. Like in the higher leagues, less people are getting promoted, more people are getting demoted. If you're in the lower leagues, it's the other way around. More people are getting promoted, less people are getting demoted. It really depends on those leagues of how many players are getting promoted and demoted, but that always just works on this reset day, which is the Sunday typically. But let's move on now with the achievements, because the Master, the Champion achievement, they are gone, where you were able to claim like up to 1,000 gems. Instead, now we have plenty new ones, and you can claim those as well. Just make sure that you claim the old ones as well already. The first two are giving you 50, then 100, then 250 gems. The next one, or the last three, are giving you 100, then 250, and then 500 gems. So quite some nice amount of gems, which you can then spend on, I don't know, helper, like the builder thingies, like the helpers and the help rat, or get new equipments, like whatever you would like. But there's quite some new gems on the line for you to farm and to get your hands on. But that's the overall entire system when it comes down to the Legend League, when it comes down to the different leagues, when it comes down to the ranked system. I know this can be quite confusing, and it was quite confusing for me in the first, like when I heard about this the first time as well. But trust me, as soon as you're playing it, it is super simple. Weekly competition, some get promoted, some get demoted. The overview is really clean, so you can really get easily into it. And for Legends, everyone who was in Legends so far, nothing is really changing beside the battle modifiers, and that's pretty much it. So overall, really nice. As well, for everyone wondering and being scared about like, oh, this is the first season. No, unfortunately, event troops are not going to be disabled in this Legend season, but Supercell said that balance them around Legend season, so they are not messing things up too bad. That was the things I was able to share. If you want to see the exact dates on like what event like stuff and everything is going to happen, make sure that you're checking out the medal event video one day before the event starts. And since Supercell has announced already that this entire new system is happening right at the end of this season, well, this means the update should drop tomorrow if everything goes to plan. Obviously, there can be always things going wrong when it comes down to the App Store or like last second bugs, so nothing is set obviously, but based on the announcement and things we know currently, the most likely date is going to be tomorrow for the update. That's pretty much everything I can say right now. So thank you so much for watching. As always, I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next Clash video, and until then, see ya, bye bye.